relationships, freedom or collapse? Open relationships, that term which has begun to float on the surface of modern societies, appear as if they represent a new kind of freedom or an innovative human experience. Yet, at their core, they carry contradictions and fractures deep enough to shake the very foundations of the self, the family, and society. When people speak about open relationships, they often present them as a space of freedom, liberating the individual from the constraints of exclusive commitment, allowing them to experience more than one emotional or physical partner without feeling guilty. But is this so-called freedom truly freedom? Or is it nothing more than a concealed collapse dressed in glamorous words? If we reflect upon human nature, we find that the relationship between a man and a woman was never created to be an open field of experimentation. It was meant to be a source of peace, safety, and stability. Every soul seeks, in its depths, that one person who offers a sense of belonging, someone who embraces their wounds, shares their dreams, and stands beside them in moments of hardship. How then could this innate longing coexist with the idea that the heart may be divided among multiple partners, that the body may be placed on display in the market of experiments like an available commodity? Psychology gives us clear indications about this matter. Modern psychological studies reveal that exclusive commitment grants a person high levels of reassurance, reducing anxiety and depression because it offers a sense of emotional safety. Open relationships, no matter how much their advocates insist that they are built on understanding and trust, actually plant the seeds of jealousy, doubt, and unrest. How could anyone watch their partner be with someone else without feeling that gnawing sense of inadequacy? They may try to convince themselves they are liberated, but deep inside, they suffer from hidden wounds that silently erode their dignity and emotions. Religion does not stand as a mere observer before such phenomena. Islam, which described marriage as a firm covenant, said it to be the foundation for building a family, not dismantling it. God described the marital bond as love and mercy, a relationship filled with compassion, not a mere exchange of physical pleasure or a passing experience. And when some claim that open relationships are simply personal freedom, the question arises: does freedom mean dismantling human nature and tampering with the most sacred of human bonds? True freedom is liberating oneself from unrestrained desires and elevating them into a noble connection that preserves one's dignity and the dignity of the other. From a moral perspective, open relationships destroy the value of loyalty, that very jewel of human connections. Loyalty is not a restriction. It is what gives the relationship its meaning. When a man trusts that his wife's heart belongs to him alone, and when a woman knows that her husband sees no one but her, their bond grows into a tree of love, strong enough to shield them from life's storms. But when loyalty collapses, and the doors are open to every new encounter, love becomes nothing but a fleeting impulse, the relationship nothing but a transaction, and the human being nothing but a body stripped of soul. On a social level, open relationships breed lost generations. A child raised in a home without emotional stability carries a wound that shadows them for life. Children need a clear image of father and mother, a home where they feel that their parents are bound by a firm connection. If they grow up in a household where one parent drifts from one partner to another, they will harbor a deep confusion about the meaning of love and commitment. How can such a child build a healthy relationship in the future when all they have witnessed is collapse and betrayal disguised as freedom? Defenders of open relationships often say they are built on honesty and agreement, claiming this makes them better than secret betrayal. But this argument is deceptive. Betrayal is not merely a breach of agreement. It is a wound in the very trust that underpins a relationship. And if two people agree to allow each other to seek other partners, this does not erase betrayal. It only legitimizes it outwardly, while it remains, in truth, a betrayal of nature and of the human heart. For the heart does not operate through cold agreements. It knows jealousy, love, and the instinct to belong exclusively. On the psychological level, those who pursue open relationships are often escaping from an emptiness within. It may be a childhood wound, a past failed relationship, or a fear of commitment that drives them to justify such patterns. Yet in reality, they are running from their inner pain by throwing themselves into new adventures. The more encounters they experience, the more lost they feel, because the heart is not a piece of fabric to be torn apart and stitched back together. It is a fragile fabric that cracks each time it faces betrayal or fracture. From a logical angle, if open relationships are truly an expression of freedom, why then are they so steeped in anxiety, jealousy, and collapse? True freedom does not leave the person broken within. It does not transform them into someone living daily battles between love and doubt, between desire and fear. A so-called freedom that destroys inner stability is no freedom at all. It is slavery to unrestrained desire. When we look at societies where such practices have spread, we see they produce nothing but fragile connections, rising rates of separation, and an overwhelming sense of loneliness and isolation. Open relationships may provide temporary pleasure, but they rob a person of the very thing they need most: emotional safety. A human being can endure hunger, thirst, or poverty, but cannot survive without belonging. And belonging is found only in a true bond built on loyalty and commitment. From the spiritual perspective, every human being, in their deepest self, knows that real love does not accept sharing. The human soul cries from within, "I want to belong to one person alone, and I want them to be mine alone." This inner call is the natural instinct God placed in our hearts. And anyone who tries to suppress or distort this instinct will ultimately find themselves lost, no matter how much they cover up their loss with slogans of freedom and liberation. The collapse of open relationships begins at the very moment a person thinks they can divide their heart. The heart, by its very nature, cannot be divided. Whoever tries to do so ends up torn apart. We were created to love sincerely, to give our whole selves to one person, to find in them the safety that cannot be found anywhere else. And whoever tries to scatter their emotions among several partners will live fragmented, never truly belonging to anyone. The conclusion is clear. Open relationships are not freedom. They are a gradual collapse. A collapse of nature, of values, of family, of society. They may seem like the easy path toward pleasure, but in truth, they are the fastest path to loneliness and despair. Genuine love, built on loyalty and faithfulness, may appear harder at first because it demands patience and sacrifice, but it remains the only path toward true happiness and profound stability. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share it with your friends, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel to get our latest videos.